What internet marketing expert should you spend your valuable time listening to? Listen to someone who has over 20 years of web marketing experience and hundreds of website marketing success stories. That man is Aaron Sparks from Site Strategics. And this is Edge of the Web Radio.
I want to jump into this HubSpot article. HubSpot's got some great content. They really do. Lisa Isbell wrote this fantastic series of key points that could demonstrate catastrophe of your website redesign. So we want to jump right in there. You know, the excitement of a website redesign turns into fear and trepidation as you try to craft a plan and put together the resources to turn all of those lofty ideas into reality. Right? So, you know, you can get lost in so many details in a web redesign. There are some common red flags that your website redesign is not on the path to providing value. So here's a couple of them here real quick. Number one, lack of strategic direction. I mean, that's why we literally named our company what we named it, Site Strategics, putting strategy into web development. Just like a home construction project, getting the blueprint wrong throws the final outcome into question. Actually, having a blueprint is a good place. Yeah. We've seen a lot of horror stories in that. Right, Doug?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. You know, in order to
it's like I'm in 5th grade and I'm looking down and the teacher says, "What's the answer to that math problem, Doug?"
Busted.
That's
You know, the high-level goals are always a general notion of getting more business, right? That's what you want to do. That's why you're doing a redesign, right? But unfortunately, if that's all that comes out of the planning table, then, I mean, you could go live with a beautiful website that does nothing towards meeting your business goals. Your new website should be firmly rooted in driving business objectives, and we wholeheartedly concur there. You need a workhorse vision of where your website is built to play on an active role in your sales and marketing efforts, rather than operating as an elaborate, fancy brochure. That couldn't be more targeted to what we talk about here on a regular basis. You need to have a narrow focus on ranking on page 1 on searches, right? And this is coming from a company, us, who's known for search engine optimization. You know, the basic notion of having a website in first place can be rooted in the idea of popping up on page 1, but that's not the entire focus of what your website should be, and you shouldn't suffer thinking through other areas of your site, as opposed to just wanting that trophy keyword. You know, there's also another factor there, lacking understanding of how a website is created. Typically, there's a web designer and a web developer involved in creating a website. The designer makes things look beautiful, and the developer makes sure that things work the way they're supposed to. Often, when this distinction isn't understood, it leads to less than stellar websites because a vendor is hired who is good at one area and not the other. Right? So you should consider a team of professionals for delivery of your project. And that's very, very important. Don't go just to a web development company. They may do great stuff, but are they paying attention to your business objectives, your sales goals, right? Are they going to actually create messages and content on your website that will lead users through that conversion path, right? That's the difference right there. And if you're looking for the success to be part of this website initiative, you need to open up your eyes a little bit further than just that web shop, right? Another point is unrealistic timeframes or timelines for development. Getting it done fast may mean cutting a lot of hefty corners. Did you just poke yourself in the eye?
No, I was just scratching my eye.
Oh, okay. Someone who's overly eager to please you by promising your website in a very tight window of time, okay, is likely going to lead you to a poor outcome. Okay, now we say that with perspective. You got to have a timeline. You have to have a budget. You have to have goals. You have to have a blueprint, and you have to you work with a company that can put these pieces together. It may be longer than what you expected to be, but you know what? You're dealing with a company that has done this a number of times. You know, you either get a website in short order that's a complete waste of money, and you know, hold your hands up if you've seen that before, right?
Almost every client that we take in.
No,
right?
I hope it's not you work.
No, right? I mean, even with you guys.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a reason why they come to us, right?
No. I mean, it's tough. Another point, poorly considering who will be involved in the web design process, only having a handful of people or a few people or maybe one person involved. You're not taking advantage of the sales team, the customer service areas that have some invaluable content to be able to provide.
Yeah.
Another point, not having a contract or a clear scope of work. I can't stress that enough. This thing can be a floating point that goes into the ether, into years, unless if you don't have that tied together. Failing to examine the data from your current website before designing a new one. That's very important. And, if you're just going for the wow concept, if you're just wanting to have an explosion of, wow, that's really great, you that can leave you going broke and skipping over the consideration for the user experience. The business goals are what are important, so don't get lost in wow. All right. Hey, a couple other points there. You got to have a CMS as well. But you know what? You can see this entire article over at edgeofthewebradio.com. Thanks for listening. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week.
Edge of the Web Radio.